Up at 6 o'clock.
The search at sea today for answers to the tragedy of TWA Flight 800 off Long Island, New York. Just moments after takeoff last night, fire on the water after explosion in the sky. 228 persons aboard the Boeing 747, no known survivors, no determined cause. Was it a bomb? Was it sabotage? Was it a ground-to-air missile? Or was it some kind of catastrophic mechanical failure?
This is the CBS Evening News, with Dan Rather reporting from CBS News headquarters in New York.
Good evening. As for the cause of the great plane crash, the possibilities are many, the facts are few. Rain and stormy weather could be a problem later tonight as searchers comb the waters about 10 miles off the coast of Long Island for what's left of TWA Flight 800 for bodies and for possible clues. President Clinton and investigators are still stressing officially that foul play is only one possibility, that the cause is undetermined. Privately, at least one law enforcement expert has told CBS News that a bomb is widely considered in the law enforcement community as probably the most likely possibility. Another highly reliable source has told CBS News of what's described as an unexplained radar blip that appeared to possibly circle the plane before it disappeared. David Martin's going to have more about that. Also, an Egyptian newspaper reportedly received a fax before the blast indicating the United States was about to get a, quote, nasty surprise. Off the Long Island coast last night, many said they saw a fireball in the sky as the TWA Boeing 747 bound from New York to Paris dropped off the radar screen.
It almost looked like a comet falling out of the sky. It was like a whisk arced down and hitting the ocean surface. I kept thinking, my God, I think I just saw something get blown out of the sky.
Look, it's got a date.
There is no doubt, however, that what was once a majestic Boeing 747 with 228 people on board has come down to this. Row 2, seat 2, first class, twisted and empty. A shoe, a bag, an envelope filled with pictures.
Yeah, wedding pictures.
And bodies. More than 125 have now been recovered. There are no known survivors. None of the bodies wore life jackets. Many were badly burned. The investigation into TWA 800 is proceeding along two tracks, the usual GO team of federal aviation experts and, in this case, the Federal Terrorism Task Force. Bob Orr has the latest. Bob?
Dan, whatever happened to Flight 800, this much is known. It is the second deadliest crash in U.S. aviation history, and maybe it wasn't an accident. Sources tell CBS News that at this hour, investigators really are looking at only two possible explanations. One, and the lesser theory, a possible catastrophic engine failure that maybe ruptured the plane's fuel tanks. Or two, a bomb which exploded high in the air. As Coast Guard teams recovered victims and fished pieces of the jumbo jet from the watery crash site, federal investigators, including FBI explosives experts, began searching for signs of sabotage.
Experts can look at pieces of metal or pieces of wreckage or pieces of cloth and find evidence of the difference between an explosion or not.
But more valuable clues may come from the 747's two black boxes. The cockpit voice recorder may contain telltale sounds of a bomb blast, and the flight data recorder should rule out or confirm an engine failure. The plane made a normal flight earlier yesterday from Athens to New York, and air traffic control records indicate everything was routine with TWA Flight 800 as it left New York's Kennedy Airport for Paris. But about 15 miles southeast of Long Island, the jet abruptly disappeared from radar, rocked by an explosion that could be seen and heard for miles.
I saw this whole tremendous area of white cloud up there, which was obviously smoke, and it sort of came down in a trail into the ocean.
Eyewitnesses watched in horror as the jet carrying 228 people began breaking apart in midair.
It started to fall, and then it got big, and it was a wide flame, and then a small piece to the right of it broke off.
CBS News has obtained records that reveal the plane involved in last night's crash suffered an engine problem last August caused by an oil leak on the number 4 engine, which had to be shut down while in flight. That was just one of more than 40 maintenance problems reported with the plane in the past 8 years. Late word from the medical examiner's office, many of the victims died of blunt force trauma injuries, consistent with what we see in plane crashes. But the coroner also says that there were some signs of drowning, which raises the haunting specter that some of those who died were alive when the plane hit the water. Dan?
Thanks, Bob. There are a number of reasons why those involved in the TWA investigation are leaning toward a terrorism link. CBS News national security correspondent David Martin is in Washington with the latest on that part of the story. David?
Dan, U.S. government officials have been examining a fax which was received before last night's crash by an Arabic language newspaper. It claimed to be from a group calling itself Movement for Islamic Change and said in Arabic, dawn is their departure time, isn't dawn near enough. Now, Movement for Islamic Change is a small splinter group which has claimed responsibility for the bombing of Americans in Saudi Arabia. The timing is suggestive. The White House spokesman Mike McCurry said just a short time ago there is nothing in the message to link it directly to the TWA incident. Another suggestive piece of evidence, the appearance of a small blip on the radar screen just when the TWA plane went down. One source said that the blip appeared to circle the plane and then merge with it. That suggests some sort of missile, but the Pentagon has subjected the radar tape to electronic analysis, and the preliminary conclusion is that it was just a spurious signal. Dan?
David Martin. Emphasizing again, there is no hard evidence of any terror connection in this crash. The FBI and New York Police Joint Terrorism Task Force is on the case. CBS News correspondent Jim Stewart tells us now what investigators are looking for. Jim?
Dan, federal investigators, frankly, are finding more to work with than they'd initially hoped, and additional explosives experts were rushed to the scene this morning to await the arrival of more debris. Despite the power of the explosion, crash fragments are much bigger than originally thought, agents say, some as much as 30 feet long, and may provide vital clues. Boeing engineers will work with federal agents overnight to examine how the rivets on the crash wreckage separated, which is a quick visual indicator, bomb analysts say, on how the plane came apart. And if any residue is spotted, forensic chemists are standing by to test for traces of explosives. In short, the emphasis right now from the White House on down to the agents at the scene is on speed, finding the quickest answer possible to the question on everyone's mind, was this an accident or mass murder? Dan?
Jim Stewart in Washington. After the early reports of the crash last night, relatives of those on board the TWA flight hurried to Kennedy Airport to await word of their fate. Correspondent Randall Pinkston is at JFK tonight. Randall?
Dan, it has been a long, painful day, perhaps one of the worst in the lives of family and friends of the victims of TWA Flight 800. As they arrived here at this airport hotel, there was a quickness in their movements. You could almost sense their fear of the answer to a question that they really didn't want to ask. Was my loved one aboard that plane? For much of the day, there was no answer because TWA officials refused to release the final passenger list. Then late this afternoon, most of the families got their answer, their horrible, sad answer. Now the agonizing wait is over. The grieving is just beginning. Dan?
Randall Pinkston. If things had gone another way, TWA Flight 800 would have arrived at 8:15 this morning at Charles de Gaulle Airport in Paris. CBS News correspondent Vicki Mabry is there tonight. Vicki?
Dan, a 12-year-old boy traveling alone and a well-known hockey player were among the more than 40 French nationals on board Flight 800. Most relatives and friends coming to the airport here had already heard the tragic news by the time they arrived. They were met by members of a trauma team put in place a year and a half ago after an Air France hijacking. That team includes 30 doctors, nurses, and psychologists who are on hand to help families cope with their grief. Tonight, France's prime minister says security will be tightened at airports, subways, and throughout the entire country. Dan?
Vicki Mabry in Paris. The base of operations for the massive search operation is the usually quiet summer resort village of East Moriches on the south shore of eastern Long Island. CBS News correspondent Russ Mitchell has been working around the clock there. Russ?
Dan, at daybreak, 24 Coast Guard cutters, 4 helicopters, and a community trying to cope went to work for a search that will continue here tonight until dusk. Local fishermen and boaters came out in full force today, pulling debris from the Atlantic. The National Transportation Safety Board says the locals have been helpful, perhaps to a fault, sometimes getting in the way and slowing down the process. But on this day of good weather and relatively calm waters, investigators so far are pleased with the progress of their search, and weather permitting, They hope to have the recovery part of this investigation over by the weekend or perhaps early next week. Now, residents here will tell you they are so anxious to help out because they are still very shaken up by the crash. And although nothing definite has been said, there is talk among residents that they will hold a memorial service for these victims, these people they didn't even know, perhaps this Sunday. Dan?
Russ Mitchell. While eyewitnesses on shore and aboard pleasure boats saw a fireball and/or heard explosions in the sky last night, investigators are giving special credence to a few expert witnesses, the crew of an Air National Guard C-130 aircraft. They were flying by and saw the final moments of the doomed TWA flight. I spoke with one crewman a short while ago.
We observed two large fireballs, orange in color, plummeting straight towards the surface. We arrived on scene and noticed large plumes of smoke, and shortly thereafter the ocean became engulfed in flames, a football-sized area with flames approximately 12 to 15 feet in the air. And we observed multiple debris in the water, and ultimately we saw some indications of inflation devices, which was our first indication that there may be a major airliner involved.
Have you ever seen anything like this in your life?
In my 19 years of rescue business, I have not. It was quite startling. We're accustomed to flares, muzzle flashes, and things of this nature, but this was quite an intense ball of fire plummeting towards the ocean.
When the CBS Evening News continues, we'll have more of our special in-depth coverage of the crash of Flight 800, including an investigation of security at America's airports. How safe are they?
If you've got minor arthritis pain, you could take 4 Advil in the course of the day, or 6 Tylenol. On the other hand, you could take just 2 Aleve. It says so on the label. It's your choice.
Aleve, all day strong, all day long.
Discover the feeling of Fixodent Fresh. A stronger, longer hold, a more secure, fresh approach to wearing dentures. And the fresh sensation gives you the confidence to live life without limits. Try a fresh approach.
35 years ago, I had a vision to provide the kinds of products and innovations that help people see better and more comfortably.
Which is why today we can offer breakthroughs like our new lightweight transitions lenses. Lightweight plastic prescription lenses that lighten and darken as the light changes.
Just shows what you can do when you focus on one thing.
Nobody cares for eyes more than Pearl.
When foul play is suspected in an airliner crash, airport security always gets close scrutiny. Listen to what the former security chief of Israel's El Al airline told CBS News today. He said he had no trouble at all buying tickets under the names of 3 well-known Middle Eastern terrorists. He paid cash at 3 different carriers at New York airports in the 1990s. More on the current state of U.S. airport security from Scott Pelley. Scott?
Dan, whether or not the TWA disaster was caused by a bomb, it does throw a harsh light on airline security in the United States. Back in 1990, Congress mandated better bomb detection equipment for airports, but today, despite that law, such equipment is virtually non-existent. In U.S. airports like JFK, the weak link in security is checked baggage. Checked baggage is rarely screened, and when it is, the screening equipment is far from state-of-the-art.
The airlines are in a very economically competitive field. They will not spend 1 penny more than they must for things that don't generate a profit.
After the Pan Am disaster, Congress passed a law ordering high-tech screening for checked baggage by 1993. 3 years after the deadline, the equipment exists in only a tiny number of airports, principally San Francisco and Atlanta. The FAA has spent nearly $200 million developing many prototype machines, but FAA officials insist no technology can detect explosives without frequent false alarms that would cause huge disruptions. So the FAA spends $35 million a year helping U.S. companies develop new bomb detection machines.
It's a more advanced technology. It still uses X-rays, but instead of just creating a picture, it's actually analyzing the contents of the bag.
Ironically, while these new made-in-America technologies are shunned at home, foreign airports are snapping them up.
Well, if you want to be screened with the latest in U.S.-developed explosive detection technology, you need to fly out of a European airport.
In the late 1980s, TWA did install bomb detection equipment at JFK Airport, but after a 2-year run, it was removed, deemed to be too unreliable. Dan?
Scott Pelley at JFK. Coming up next, TWA 800 and echoes of Pan Am 103.
Bobby said he beat you. He's such a kidder.
He wasn't kidding.
Well, maybe he just got lucky.
3 in a row.
Well, maybe we need a new game plan.
Introducing New Ensure Light. Complete balanced nutrition. #1 doctor recommended. Low in fat and only 200 calories. Helps you stay healthy, active, energetic.
I think I'm ready for another.
Another chocolate?
Oh, another game.
New Ensure Light. Drink to your health.
Heartburn medicines have been around for years. First came Tagamet, then Zantac, then Pepsid. But the newest, Axid, now in non-prescription strength as New Axid AR. So effective, it can prevent heartburn completely. And here's the proof. We gave heartburn sufferers spicy food like this, and many told us Axid AR prevented their heartburn. Not a little, not somewhat, but completely. New Axid AR, proven it can prevent heartburn completely. Good chili.
Sprint has a great offer for your small business. A year of long distance on Fridays free.
I'll call you next Friday.
Call now 1-800-598-5000 and don't miss another free Friday at work, only from Sprint Business.
Cappuccino Blast. Cool, rich, wild. Only from Baskin-Robbins.
Meet Fidel Castro as never seen before. From the ground where the Bay of Pigs took place to now blockaded Cuba. Exclusive coverage tonight.
One of the most horrifying aspects of the TWA 800 tragedy is the sense of deja vu, Tara. How this air disaster appears to be unfolding like the nightmare of Lockerbie, the bombing of Pan Am 103 8 years ago. Joining us now is James Fox, a terrorism expert and former top FBI official who was in charge of the agency's New York office. Mr. Fox, thanks for being with us. How valid is drawing the parallels between what happened with Pan Am 103 and what happened on this flight?
It's probably too soon to draw a valid parallel, but I have to say that as I talked to some of my friends in law enforcement last night, particularly the counterterrorism experts, we all recalled Pan Am 103 when the first call I got was from a member of Pan Am Security, and he said the damn plane just disappeared from the screen, and that's what TWA said last night. It just disappeared that fast, and I think that's one of the things that makes us believe, some of the veterans believe, it could well have been a bomb.
With tightened security, though, how easy, or is it easy at all, to get a bomb or get some explosive aboard an aircraft?
It's easy with check-in luggage in the United States. You can get virtually anything you want to on a plane if you check your luggage, show photo ID, and then you may or may not get on the plane. But the luggage does go on the plane. It's still very, very easy to do.
Having said that the possibilities are many, the facts are few, there is a consensus building in law enforcement based on my conversations today that this probably was an explosion set by someone aboard the plane. Is that your view or not?
That's my view, and I think that's the view of some of the veterans I talked to today. You can talk about mechanical failure, human failure, natural disaster, but a bomb is pretty near the top of the list of priorities.
Jim Fox, thank you very much.
Thank you, Dan.
Still ahead, other views and news of the day and the close-knit Pennsylvania community that became a big part of this national tragedy in the sky and at sea.
Well, we're here with Wanda and Babs, who feel that their zipper bag is fine and will not switch to Gladlock zipper bags.
That's right. Ditto.
Now, Babbo, let's say you hold some of your famous chicken gravy upside down over Wanda's head, sealed in either your bag or the Gladlock bag with the yellow and blue make green seal, so you know the bag is closed. Your bag doesn't have a green seal.
Well, I say let's go for it with our bag. Why switch? Because it's my head. We'll switch to Gladlock.
Good call, Wanda. When it really counts, get Gladlock.
New Quilted Northern Ultra presents Goldilocks. One day Goldilocks was skipping through the woods when suddenly, whoops, She had to go. But Papa Bear's toilet paper was not soft. Mama Bear's was soft, but not soft enough. Oh, but Baby Bear's was new Quilted Northern Ultra. With more soft fibers and more cushiony quilting, why, you won't find a softer toilet paper than new Quilted Northern Ultra.
Could we ask you a personal question? Is your breath fresh enough to kiss someone?
Well, I brushed.
If you want to be sure you have kissably fresh breath, you want minty fresh Scope. Scope Fresh is kissably fresh, the best kind of fresh your breath can be.
No time here to get slowed down by irregularity. My doctor suggested Metamucil, the only leading brand with 100% natural fiber, like the fiber in healthy foods. Keeps me regular, so I can be a star.
Metamucil, the doctor's natural choice for regularity.
I was at my daughter's for the weekend. I was just settling in for the night when the pain started. I knew I wouldn't get a good night's sleep, and I was worried about taking something about how I'd feel the next morning. Then Susie told me to try her Tylenol PM. Well, the pain stopped, I slept through the night. The Tylenol PM worked great. The next morning, I was up even before the kids. And I had so much energy, I wore them out.
Rest easy. It's Tylenol PM.
Tonight, the crash everyone's talking about. Now meet the rescuers and hear from the families of the victims. What happened? A minute-by-minute account on 48 Hours tonight.
With this TWA crash in the background, the mood in Atlanta, where the Olympics are due to begin tomorrow, is, to say the least, tense. John Roberts is there. John?
Dan, on the eve of one of the biggest events that this country has witnessed, the downing of Flight 800 has sent a chill through the people who have worked 4 years preparing for the next 17 days. Atlanta's police chief told me if the crash is not connected to the Olympics, then the timing could not have been worse. If it is connected to the Olympics, then that presents new challenges for law enforcement. The largest security effort ever mounted in peacetime is apparent here in Atlanta, with tens of thousands of police officers and high-tech surveillance equipment all gathered here to watch over the games. At this point, organizers are confident that they have done enough. There has been no specific threat leveled against these games, and they are hoping that last night's events do not cast a new spin on that scenario. Dan?
John Roberts in Atlanta. Now, we'll have more about the crash shortly, but first, some other news of the day. Benjamin Netanyahu went to Egypt today in his first visit to an Arab country as Israel's prime minister. In talks with President Mubarak, Netanyahu promised to honor existing peace treaties and, trying to ease tensions, Netanyahu relaxed restrictions on Palestinian workers entering Israel. In this country, you may remember the outbreak of intestinal illness that sickened hundreds of people in at least 20 states during May and June. Tonight, federal health officials identified what they see as the likely cause: raspberries from Guatemala, contaminated with the microscopic parasite Cyclospora. In a Little Rock federal courtroom, President Clinton gave videotaped testimony today in another Whitewater trial. The president said he gave state jobs to 2 Arkansas bankers because they were the best qualified, not because they backed him politically. The 2 bankers are accused of tax and banking violations. The governor of Illinois has declared 13 counties, including all of metropolitan Chicago, disaster areas. He acted after flooding from more than a foot of rain swamped residential areas and caused big delays for commuters. And free agent basketball center Shaquille O'Neal left the Orlando Magic today for the Los Angeles Lakers. O'Neal signed for $120 million over 7 years. That's the richest long-term deal in sports history.
Morning, guys.
Just when you think your diarrhea medicine is working.
Oh, boy. What's wrong?
It can let you down. But you can count on Imodium AD to stop diarrhea, often in just 1 dose, instead of dose after dose, more than 1/3 of a bottle of the pink stuff. And Imodium AD is even better than the leading prescription.
I told you we should have stopped for Imodium AD.
Imodium AD, 1 dose relief you can count on.
There are those among us with very simple tastes. They only want the best. And for them, there's Fancy Feast gourmet cat food. Exceptionally moist and delicious. Fancy Feast. Good taste is easy to recognize.
Come on, move the car. Hey, move the car. Hey, what is wrong?
General Mills announces lower prices every day on many of your favorite cereals and sizes. General Mills, great value guaranteed every day.
I'm 62. Can I still help prevent osteoporosis?
I'm over 40. Can calcium help me?
It's never too late to help prevent osteoporosis with Caltrate. Caltrate Plus is uniquely formulated with 20% more calcium than any leading brand, plus 6 added nutrients essential for healthy bones. So whatever your age,
it's never too late for Caltrate.
Now, all the benefits of Caltrate Plus in 2 great-tasting, chewable flavors.
America feels the pain tonight of a death in the family, mourning the victims of TWA Flight 800. Nowhere is the pain and the loss felt more intensely than in the town of Montoursville, Pennsylvania. Correspondent Bob McNamara is there.
It is a town gripped in grief.
We have lost 21 of our citizens. Of a community of 5,000, that's a big loss.
Stunned at losing 16 teenagers and 5 adults. Helplessly, many prayed for a miracle today.
It's just so horrible. I don't think we can take any more.
Nestled in Pennsylvania's eastern Appalachians, Montoursville is an all-American family values town of kids and quiet living.
For the 3 boys and 13 girls in the high school French club, an 11-day trip to France was one they'd begged, borrowed, and saved for more than a year. It was fun they wanted. The safety was a given.
No one ever expects any tragedy like this.
Cheerleader coach Kathy Schick lost 2 of her favorite squad members.
They were in the prime of their lives. They had a lot to live for, a lot that they offered our school.
Tragic, just absolutely tragic.
Principal Dan Chandler, overwhelmed by reporters and too busy to grieve, said the school and the town lost some of its best and brightest.
Bright, personable. I mean, just look you right in the eye. How you doing? Good to see you. You know, just big smile. I mean, always.
We're not going to get over this.
The deaths are most tragic for parents.
We'll deal with it.
Michelle and Steve Ozipis lost a light of their lives, their daughter Larissa.
I walk in their bedroom, it's just, can't believe that's it. That's it.
Larissa Ozipis would have been 16 next Monday.
I was looking forward to her growing up and thinking of how nice it would be to just be her friend, because she was really interesting and fun.
Today, some parents who barely knew each other met in tears and open arms, bonded now by their deepest grief. Bob McNamara, CBS News, Montoursville, Pennsylvania.
We'll have much more about the investigation of the plane crash on a special live edition of 48 Hours tonight at 10, 9 Central Time. That'll be right after our special program on Cuba and Fidel Castro, CBS Reports, The Last Revolutionary. That will be on many of these stations at 9, 8 Central, and then followed by 48 Hours. For right now, for the CBS Evening News, Dan Rather reporting. I'll see you again soon.
CBS News.
When the news broke, we were actually sitting in front of the TV and saw the story break, and that was my initial reaction, you know, well, you know, that's bad, but we don't know them. And it took about maybe 10 or 15 seconds, and my mother and I looked at one another and said they left tonight.
The terrible crash in New York hits close to home in Tennessee.
Tonight we'll tell you about several local links to TWA Flight 800.
From your news and information leader, this is the News Channel 5 6 o'clock report.
Hello everybody, I'm Dan McDonald in tonight for Chris Clark.
And I'm Vicki Yates. Our top story tonight, a plane crash 1,000 miles away is being felt here in